The first shot echoed across the Wyoming Valley before sunrise. It wasn't followed by screams. It wasn't followed by another gunshot. Instead, hundreds of cattle suddenly stopped moving. Birds burst from the cottonwood trees. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Half a mile away, an elderly ranch hand slowly removed his hat and whispered only 4 words. "He's riding again. God help them." No one knew who had fired the shot. No one saw the rider clearly. But among the scattered ranches between Red Creek and Elk Pass, one rumor spread faster than wildfire. The Iron Hawk had returned. For 15 years, parents had frightened reckless boys with stories about him. Outlaws refused to camp where he had once been seen. Some swore he had died. Others believed he never existed at all. The truth was far stranger. At that very moment, the most feared gunfighter in Wyoming wasn't hunting criminals. He was quietly repairing a broken fence outside a forgotten ranch, pretending to be nothing more than an aging cowboy. Miles away, Emma Dawson urged her exhausted horse along the narrow trail. Dust clung to her faded blue dress. Her boots were cracked. Her hands trembled from holding the reins for nearly 12 hours. 28-year-old Emma had once lived a comfortable life. That ended 18 months earlier when her husband, Daniel, never returned from a cattle drive. Some claimed wolves had killed him. Others insisted rustlers had ambushed the crew. No body was ever found. Only his blood-stained hat. Since then, creditors had taken nearly everything. The family ranch. The horses. Even her wedding piano. The only thing they hadn't managed to take was her 6-year-old son. Little Noah sat behind her in the saddle, clutching her waist. "Mama," he asked softly, "are we close?" Emma forced herself to smile. Almost. The smile disappeared the second he buried his face against her back. She knew he was hungry. She was too. They had shared their last piece of bread the previous evening. Ahead stood Black Hollow Ranch. People across Wyoming spoke about it in whispers. Not because it was the biggest ranch. Because it belonged to one man. Nathan Cole. Some called him cold. Some called him dangerous. Most simply avoided saying his name altogether. He rarely came into town. Rarely smiled. Never attended church socials or dances. The stories surrounding him were endless. That he once defeated 4 armed robbers before breakfast. That he had buried 2 brothers with his own hands. That he trusted horses more than people. Nobody knew which stories were true. Emma didn't care. She only needed work. The enormous ranch house came into view beyond rows of white fences. Cowboys were already moving cattle through the eastern pasture. Black smoke drifted lazily from the bunkhouse chimney. Life here continued with military precision. Emma stopped outside the gate. 2 ranch hands looked her over. One frowned. The other noticed Noah immediately. "You looking for somebody?" "I'd like to speak with Mr. Cole." The younger cowboy laughed. "So does half the territory. I only need 5 minutes. You'll probably get 5 seconds." Before Emma could answer, hoofbeats approached from behind. Everyone turned. A tall rider wearing a weathered black hat guided a dark bay horse through the gate. He wasn't dressed like a wealthy ranch owner. His coat carried dust. His gloves were old. A day's beard shadowed his face. He looked like another trail rider returning from work. Yet every cowboy stepped aside. Nobody spoke. Nobody even looked directly at him. The rider climbed down without hurry. His gray eyes briefly met Emma's. For just one heartbeat. Something changed in his expression. Not recognition. Not sympathy. Something closer to surprise. Then it vanished. "You wanted work?" His voice was calm. Emma nodded. "If there's anything at all." He glanced toward Noah. "Who's the boy?" "My son." The cowboy studied them for several seconds. Long enough to notice the patched saddle. The nearly empty canteen. The worn blanket tied behind the saddle. He noticed details most men ignored. Finally he spoke. "The cook always needs another pair of hands." Emma blinked. "I thought." The ranch hands exchanged nervous looks. One cleared his throat. "Ma'am?" The older cowboy quietly whispered. "You're already talking to Mr. Cole." Emma's face drained of color. This dusty rider? This ordinary-looking cowboy? Owned nearly 40,000 acres. Nathan Cole simply turned toward the house. "If you're willing to work hard, report to Mrs. Harper in the kitchen." No grand speech. No interview. No questions. Just opportunity. Emma almost cried from relief. The days that followed were harder than anything she had imagined. Mrs. Harper believed sleep was for lazy people. Breakfast started before daylight. Laundry never ended. Cowboys somehow produced endless muddy clothes. Yet Emma never complained. Every evening Noah played beside the stables while she finished washing dishes. Sometimes Nathan rode past without saying a word. Sometimes he disappeared into the hills before sunrise and returned long after dark. He remained a mystery. The ranch hands respected him. But they also feared disappointing him. Not because he shouted. Because he never did. One evening Noah wandered toward the horse corrals carrying a carved wooden toy horse. Nathan happened to be checking fences nearby. The little boy stared at him. "Mister." Nathan looked down. "Yes. My mama says you're rich." Several nearby cowboys froze. No one spoke to Nathan that casually. Nathan merely raised one eyebrow. "Does she?" Noah nodded. "You don't look rich." For the first time all week, someone heard Nathan Cole laugh. A real laugh. Short. Unexpected. "You know," he said. "I've been told that before." From the kitchen window, Emma watched in complete disbelief. Her son wasn't afraid of the man everyone feared. Nathan crouched until they were eye level. "What happened to your horse?" Noah held up the wooden toy. "I made him." Nathan examined the carving. The wheels were uneven. One leg was shorter than the others. "Still?" He nodded seriously. "Looks like he'll outrun mine." The boy grinned. That tiny conversation lasted less than 2 minutes. But half the ranch talked about it for days. Because almost nobody had ever seen Nathan smiling. Late one afternoon, trouble finally arrived. 3 expensive riders entered the ranch. Their polished boots alone cost more than Emma earned in 2 months. Leading them was Victor Hale. Banker. Land investor. And one of the richest men in Wyoming. He smiled too easily. The kind of smile that never reached the eyes. Nathan met them outside the barn. Victor removed his gloves. "You've delayed long enough." Nathan folded his arms. "My answer hasn't changed." Victor sighed dramatically. "You own the last water rights in Red Creek." "And?" "Sell them." "No." Victor stepped closer. "You're forcing progress to wait. I'm preventing thieves from calling themselves businessmen." Silence settled over the yard. Emma happened to be carrying laundry nearby. She couldn't help overhearing. Victor noticed her. Then Noah. His smile widened strangely. "A widow and her boy?" Nathan's eyes hardened. "They work here. For now." Victor's voice sounded almost playful. "Careful, Nathan." He leaned closer. "People who stand in my way usually lose more than money." Nathan didn't blink. "They should choose another road." Victor laughed. "I think they already have." The visitors rode away. Dust followed them down the trail. Mrs. Harper quietly crossed herself. One cowboy muttered, "This won't end well." Emma frowned. "Who was that?" An older ranch hand answered. "The kind of man who hires lawyers when he can, and killers when he can't." That night heavy rain rolled across the valley. Lightning flashed over distant mountains. Emma couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. Around midnight, she heard horses. Too many horses. Not ranch horses. Fast. Disciplined. Moving without lanterns. Then came another sound. A whistle. Oh, sure. Nathan appeared outside almost instantly, already dressed. No hesitation. No confusion. As though he had expected this night for weeks. He walked into the rain carrying only a rifle. The ranch hands scrambled from the bunkhouse. Someone shouted, "Riders." Another voice yelled, "They're cutting the south fence." Cattle began stampeding. Thunder mixed with panicked cries. Emma rushed toward Noah's room. Her heart pounded. Outside, dark figures raced through the storm. They weren't stealing cattle. They were creating chaos. A distraction. Nathan understood immediately. His eyes scanned the darkness once. Only once. Then he whispered something almost no one heard. "They're after the child." Before anyone could react, a masked rider smashed through the side gate. Another grabbed Noah straight through the open window. Emma screamed, "Noah!" The horse spun toward the hills. Nathan fired exactly one shot. The bullet didn't hit the rider. It shattered the lantern hanging beside the gate. Darkness swallowed the entire yard. Confusion exploded. The kidnappers suddenly couldn't see each other. But Nathan could. Because he wasn't aiming at men. He was controlling the battlefield. The storm had only begun. And somewhere beyond the rain, the men who had come for one little boy had absolutely no idea whose ranch they had just attacked. The rain swallowed every sound except Emma's desperate cries. Noah. Her voice broke as she stumbled through the muddy yard, but Nathan Cole caught her before she could run into the chaos. You'll never catch them on foot. They've taken my son. I know. His voice remained calm, almost frighteningly calm. Emma grabbed his coat. Then why are you standing here? For the first time since she had arrived at Black Hollow Ranch, Nathan's gray eyes revealed something beneath the cold exterior. Anger. Not loud anger. The kind that had been buried for years. They've made a mistake they'll regret. Within seconds he mounted his black stallion. The ranch hands waited for orders. Nathan looked toward the darkness. No one follows me. One cowboy protested. But there are at least 10 of them. Nathan tightened the reins. Exactly. Then he disappeared into the storm. The kidnappers rode hard through the mountains. Noah struggled, kicking and punching the man holding him. Let me go. The outlaw laughed. You're a brave little cub. Another rider glanced behind them. Think the ranch owner will follow? The leader, Mason Crow, smiled beneath his mask. If he does, he'll die before sunrise. What Mason didn't know. Nathan wasn't chasing them. He was riding somewhere else. Nearly 3 miles ahead stood an abandoned silver mine. Most travelers avoided it. Old tunnels twisted beneath the mountain like a maze. Only a handful of people still remembered every entrance. Nathan happened to be one of them. He reached the mine nearly 20 minutes before the kidnappers. Instead of waiting on the trail, he disappeared inside the mountain. The gang finally arrived shortly before dawn. Rain slowed to a drizzle. They dragged Noah into the largest chamber and tied him beside a wooden support beam. Mason removed his mask. He was older than Emma had imagined. A scar crossed one cheek. Cold blue eyes studied the frightened boy. You know why you're here? Noah shook his head. No. You soon will. One outlaw entered carrying an old leather map. We searched the ranch. And? Nothing. Mason cursed. Then Nathan still has it. Noah frowned. What? Mason crouched. The papers. I don't know any papers. I believe you. He smiled. But Nathan does. Back at Black Hollow Ranch, Emma refused to stay behind. I'm going after him. Mrs. Harper grabbed her arm. You'll get yourself killed. He's my son. So don't make him lose his mother too. Emma looked toward the distant mountains. Lightning flashed one last time before dawn. Then an elderly ranch hand quietly approached. I know where Mr. Cole went. Everyone turned. The old cowboy swallowed. Years ago. That mine belonged to his family. Emma blinked. His family? The old man nodded. Before they were murdered. Silence covered the room. No one ever talks about it. Inside the mine the outlaws built a fire. They believed they were alone. They were wrong. Nathan watched them through a narrow crack in the rock wall. Every movement. Every rifle. Every escape route. He counted 9 men. 1 guarding the entrance. 2 near Noah. The others relaxing. Confident. That confidence would kill them. Nathan quietly removed something from his saddlebag. Not ammunition. Old sticks of mining dynamite. Water had ruined most of them years ago. He only needed one. He placed it beneath an abandoned cart. Then disappeared into the darkness again. An hour later. One outlaw heard footsteps. He turned. Nothing. Another heard loose stones falling deeper inside the tunnel. What was that? Probably rats. A third man suddenly vanished while checking the horses outside. No scream. No gunfire. Just gone. Mason stood. Spread out. The men obeyed. Exactly what Nathan wanted. One by one. They separated. The mine became silent again. Then, a single gunshot echoed through the tunnels. One lantern exploded. Darkness swallowed half the chamber. Another shot. A rifle flew from an outlaw's hands. Still, no one saw the shooter. Panic spread faster than bullets. Where is he? I can't see. He's behind us. No. He's above us. Nathan wasn't shooting to kill. He was breaking lights. Breaking confidence. Breaking formation. Within seconds the gang had become frightened men firing wildly into shadows. Mason finally understood. His face turned pale. "It can't be." One older outlaw whispered, "I know this." "You know what?" "The way he fights." The man's hands trembled. "I saw it once. 15 years ago." Mason stared. "No." The outlaw slowly lowered his rifle. "That's not Nathan Cole." Mason frowned. "Then who?" The man answered with barely a whisper. "The Iron Hawk." Every face changed. Several men took an unconscious step backward. Stories suddenly became real. The legend they had laughed about was standing somewhere inside the darkness, watching, waiting. Nathan finally stepped into the light. No fear. No hurry. His rifle rested loosely in one hand. Mason laughed nervously. "So the ghost finally appears." Nathan looked only at Noah. "You hurt?" The boy shook his head. "No." "Good." Nathan's eyes shifted toward Mason. "This ends now." 9 rifles rose. Nathan didn't move. Mason smiled. "You're badly outnumbered." Nathan quietly replied. "So was I last time." Before anyone understood the meaning, he fired one shot. Not at a man. At the older cart. The damaged dynamite exploded with a deafening roar. The blast collapsed part of the tunnel. Dust filled the chamber. Men fell. Horses screamed outside. The outlaws lost all sense of direction. Nathan crossed the distance like a shadow. One outlaw swung a rifle. Nathan struck him with the stock. Another reached for his revolver. Nathan kicked it across the floor. A third charged with a knife. One punch ended the fight. No wasted movement. No panic. Only precision. Years of experience spoke louder than violence. Emma reached the mine entrance just as the echoes faded. She ignored every warning and rushed inside. "Noah. I'm here." She found him running toward her. Mother and son collided in a tearful embrace. For several long seconds nothing else existed. Nathan simply watched, relieved. Then he looked beyond them. Mason Crow had escaped through a side tunnel. Nathan mounted his horse without a word. Emma grabbed his sleeve. "Don't go." Nathan looked toward the rising sun. "If I don't finish this, he'll come back." Nathan caught Mason near the cliffs overlooking Red Creek. The outlaw's horse stumbled among the rocks. He turned, revolver shaking. "Who are you?" Nathan slowly removed his black hat. "The man your employer should have warned you about." Mason fired. The bullet struck a rock. Nathan's revolver answered once. Mason's weapon spun from his hand. A second later the outlaw collapsed to his knees. "You could kill me?" Nathan holstered his gun. "No." "Why?" "Dead men tell no truth." Within 2 days Mason confessed everything. Victor Hale had ordered Noah's kidnapping because Daniel Dawson, Emma's missing husband, had uncovered forged land deeds proving Hale had stolen dozens of family ranches across Wyoming. Daniel had hidden the evidence before disappearing. Victor believed Nathan possessed the documents because Daniel had trusted only one man enough to protect them. Nathan finally revealed the truth. Years earlier Daniel had saved Nathan's life during an ambush. Before vanishing, Daniel had left a small locked iron box in Nathan's care with one instruction. "If anything happens to me, give this to Emma." Nathan retrieved the box from beneath the floorboards of the old ranch house. Inside were the original deeds, signed confessions, and Daniel's final handwritten letter. Emma's hands trembled as she read. "If you're reading this, I couldn't come home. But I never stopped loving you. Trust Nathan. He'll do what I no longer can." Tears rolled silently down her face. The evidence destroyed Victor Hale's empire. His hired men abandoned him. The governor ordered his arrest, and dozens of stolen ranches were returned to their rightful families. Weeks later, Black Hollow Ranch felt different. The laughter of cowboys returned. Children once again played in the yard. One evening Noah stood beside Nathan, holding the same little wooden horse. "Mr. Nathan?" "Yes." "When I grow up?" Nathan smiled. "I want to be brave like you." Nathan looked across the golden prairie before answering. "Being brave isn't about never being afraid." He rested a hand on the boy's shoulder. "It's about protecting people even when you are." Emma watched from the porch. For the first time since losing her husband, hope no longer felt like a memory. It felt like tomorrow. Far across the valley, the sun dipped below the Wyoming mountains, painting the sky in gold. The legend of the Iron Hawk would continue to live in whispers. But at Black Hollow Ranch, Nathan Cole no longer cared about legends. He had finally found something worth protecting more than his past. A family that had chosen him just as he had chosen them.